A lot of realtors assume that all they do is market and sell real estate. And because the real estate sector in Nigeria is said to be unregulated, so they assume that they can do whatever they like and they can go free, and that is not correct. As a realtor, you have a lot of responsibilities, and as a matter of fact, this responsibility, directly or indirectly, is backed up by law. And in this video, I want to share with you your legal responsibilities. First, what is your primary legal duty as a realtor? And then I'll go ahead and share with you mistakes. I have about 20 outlined mistakes that every realtor should not make. This is the updated version as at 2025, and I really urge you to pay attention and not make these mistakes, as well as pay attention to your primary duty as a realtor. And if you can, be rest assured that you will not just be a successful realtor, broker, developer, as the case may be, but you also be able to build a sustainable real estate brand that you can choose to even hand over to generations after. My name is Raymond Ijoma, and I am the lead facilitator of the Fortreal Real Estate Academy right here in Nigeria. And what we do here is to teach you, educate you, make sure that you're properly aware of the do's and don'ts of real estate, whether in terms of knowing how to market and sell, as well as the legal part of real estate. And as a matter of fact, we have a paid program, paid masterclasses, video courses that you can go through to learn how to be able to market, sell, and build a sustainable brand on the foundation of the right legal knowledge that you need to have as a professional. So if you're interested in our paid program, do reach out to the number showing right on your screen. But in the meantime, let us deal with this issue because it is urgent, and I encourage you to watch it to the very end. Of course, do make sure you share this video with a friend, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, I'd like to hear your feedback in the comment section. So let's get right into the conversation. So like I said in the beginning, a whole lot of realtors assume that all you do is just market and of course you're good to go. But that is not correct, as I stated earlier. In law, there is something referred to as the duty of care. And I'm going to be talking to us briefly from my new book, Understanding Real Estate Laws in Nigeria. It is the first of its kind. In fact, it is Nigeria's first simplified and practical legal handbook for realtors, developers, and investors. So whether you're an investor, developer, realtor, whoever you are, you need a copy of this book. It's 301 pages. It's a whole lot of knowledge simplified in a way that you want. This is literally 5 years of my schooling in university, 1 year, and of course a lot of almost a decade of practice in the field of real estate, simplified and packed up in this material. So you can order a copy by reaching out to the number shown right on your screen for book. There's a number for book and there's a number for academy if you're interested in our courses. And of course, you can visit www.raymondejoma.com. Now, let me read what I have here for you. What is the duty of care in real estate? Duty of care in real estate means that a realtor, broker, or developer, a real estate practitioner generally, has a legal and professional obligation to reasonably act and carry out any real estate transaction with, number one, diligence, honesty, caution, and empathy. I think I should read it again. Duty of care in real estate means that as a realtor, you have a legal and professional obligation to reasonably act and carry out any real estate transaction that you engage in with diligence, honesty, caution, and empathy in mind. This is very important. In other words, do every real estate transaction with the mindset that you are the one who is about to spend the money. That way, you reasonably apply more care, carefulness, and caution. As I said earlier, some persons will say our laws are not regulated and all of that. But the truth about it is that directly or indirectly, there is application of the duty of care in everything you do, provided you act as an agent for anything. Generally, so I asked the question here, does the duty of care apply in Nigeria? My answer is generally. The Nigerian legal system recognizes the duty of care, especially under the law of agency, tort law, negligence, and sometimes contract law. If a realtor misleads a client, acts negligently, or hides material facts, they can be sued for negligence. misrepresentation, and of course, breach of fiduciary duty. Now, this is a whole lot of legal stuff, and all of them were explained in this particular book. And basically, the summary of this part is that you're not just marketing and selling. You have a legal responsibility, you have an obligation. Whether there is no act directly regulating the real estate sector doesn't mean that you do whatever you like as a realtor. All right. One thing that is beautiful about the book, every chapter, everything that is talked about legally has references here, cases, court cases, and all of that. And a lot of realtors have been to court and are dealing with court issues. And in fact, there are some that are in prison, right? So you don't want to mess up a lot of things based on your ignorance of the legal part of real estate. So I'm going to go to a part where I summarize a few things in the book. So here we're looking at 20 common mistakes to avoid, legal mistakes to avoid as a realtor. Number one mistake is not understanding Nigerian property laws. This is a major mistake. You don't want to get into real estate and you don't understand. In fact, I've always said and stated that law is the foundation and the guarantee of security, sustainability of every real estate transaction. That a real estate transaction is successful, is secure, is sustainable, it means that there is a legal part, there's legal backbone to that transaction. If you ignore it, you ignore the success of that particular transaction. So it means that if you want to sell real estate, you want to build a sustainable brand in the real estate sector, from anywhere you are watching from, there are legalities attached to what you are doing. There are legalities around real estate, and you must pay attention to the local laws that apply within your jurisdiction so that you understand and know what to do and what not to do part time. So understanding Nigerian property laws or the laws of wherever you're watching me from is very important. Number two, confusing land status with title documents. Some of the concepts I will share with you are very technical and will require a lot of time to explain, and I cannot do that in the next 10 minutes, right? But I highly encourage you to get a copy of this book because everything is well explained in a practical and simple way, right? So there's a difference between land status and title documents. For a lot of realtors, they ask you what is the status of the land, and then you ignorantly jump to another thing. They ask you what is a title document, you ignorantly jump to another thing. It's important that you understand the difference between land status and title documents. All right. Number three, prioritizing location over title validity. Now, location is good. In fact, I hear people say for you to buy a property, all you have to look at is location, location, location. That is not correct. A property can be 100% in terms of location, but if the title is bad, then you don't have a property. Again, a property can be 100%, 100 over 100 as far as the location is concerned, facing a tarred road. In fact, facing the best landmark in the city. But if the title is bad, then it is a bad deal, irrespective of the status, irrespective of the beauty of the location. So you don't want to joke with title documents and its validity in every real estate transaction. Number four, misrepresenting facts during transactions. Now, a whole lot of realtors are tempted to do this, especially because clients or some clients or a lot of clients on the other side usually ask for more than their money can afford. And at that point, the realtor on the other side wants to tell the client what he or she wants to hear so that the deal can close. And automatically that falls under the purview of misrepresentation. And if a client holds you for it, you will definitely go in for it. In fact, it can be as simple as a client having a 2 million naira budget and wants to buy a property that is along a tarred road and comes with a certificate of occupancy. At that point in time, the realtor on the other side, who is looking to sell desperately, goes ahead to tell the client that the property has a CFO, or CFO is almost ready, whereas there's even no plan at all. So you must be careful so that you are not misrepresenting, because the day you meet a client that holds you for it, you may end up going in for it. Number five, selling for unqualified and incompetent owners or companies. And there are different levels to this. There are incompetent owners in terms of their status. There are also incompetent owners in terms of their ability and competence to be able to sell. Now, it's one thing to be able to sell a property. It's another to have the capacity, the legal capacity to be able to transfer interest, title, and ownership in that property. For example, that I'm in possession of the original papers of a document and can be able to sell it doesn't mean that I have the right to be able to transfer title, interest, and ownership in that property. In fact, you can actually own a property and still not be able to transfer title in it because there are legal conditions that apply to different scenarios. For example, you have properties that are inalienable because they are termed ancestral or family properties, and at that point, you will never be able to sell those properties even though you can sell it. And at that point, even if you sell it, title can never move. In fact, it is declared void as far as the law is concerned. Now, on the other side, as a realtor, you want to sell property for a company. You need to also ascertain whether this company, in terms of registration, possess the capacity to sell. Also, in terms of authority, they also have right to be able to sell a property. And these are issues that you need to begin to look at as a legally smart realtor. And the sixth legal mistake to avoid is assuming that one legal jurisdiction applies nationwide. That is not correct, right? When you go to certain locations in Nigeria, what applies in Abuja will not apply. In fact, Abuja has a very unique land administration. What applies in Lagos will not apply in Abuja in certain areas of law. All right, Enugu, East, North, and a whole lot of places. And the same goes to other locations in Nigeria. As a property lawyer, I've done transactions across different regions within Nigeria, and I can tell you for free that you'll be making a very huge mistake if you assume that what applies in Enugu applies in every part of Nigeria. Number 7, selling properties with a cession in process. I will not have time to explain this, but you must be very careful right here. Selling properties with a cession in process as the title document. Number 8, receiving payment on behalf of clients without authorization. You need to be careful about this. In fact, there's a legal implication to this. There's also the tax implication of this. And we also have tax issues covered in chapter 19 of the book. The book has 22 chapters, all right? And that gives you an idea of the fact that it's a whole lot. And then number 9 is using freehold as a title document. Freehold as a title document. And there are 2 types or concepts of freehold within Nigeria, and you need to understand them and know what applies to which, and of course know when to accept that this is freehold and what you must do to be sure that your clients are investing in the right property with the right title. Again, using freehold as a title document. Number 10, failing to provide full disclosure about a property's legal status. All right. 11, selling lease pendis. Lease pendis in law means that you're selling a property that is under litigation. All right. Number 12, doing important real estate transactions without written or provable fact. 13, disregarding zone stroke use designations. If a land is for a green area, don't sell it for residential. In fact, this applies to a lot of places, but very importantly in a place like the FCT. Number 14, relying only on survey plan as a title document. A survey plan by law is not a title document. It is an important part of property document, but by itself, it is not a title document. Number 15, neglecting community consent and influence in communal transactions. 16, taking instructions from anyone to sell family land. To avoid issues, sell on the instruction of the head of the family and carry principal members of the family alongside. I think we'll end in number 17. 17, signing contracts that you don't understand without the advice of a property lawyer. 17 again, signing contracts you don't understand without the advice of a property lawyer. Again, like I mentioned, this is a 22 chapter book, and I highly encourage you to grab a copy for yourself. Let me quickly run through the chapters. Chapter 1, the foundation, law and real estate. Chapter 2, the legal pathways to land ownership in Nigeria. Chapter 3, understanding title documents in Nigeria. Chapter 4, deeds and all you need to know. I'm sure you heard about deed of assignment, deed of that, and all of that. All right, so here I talked about types of deed and everything you need to know as it relates to deeds. Chapter 5, power of attorney. This is quite sensitive. Chapter 6, contract of sale. Chapter 7, recognized titles under the Land Use Act of 1978. Recognized titles. You don't want to joke with this. Chapter 8, tenancy. What realtors, developers, and investors must know. Chapter 9, understanding leases in real estate. A lease. I'm sure you heard about leases before. You need to be careful here as a realtor, particularly, okay, let me not mention any location. Chapter 10, accession and gazette. What many don't know. Accession and gazette, what many don't know. If you're a realtor in Lagos, you don't want to joke with this chapter. Chapter 11, freehold. What does the law say? Freehold. What does the law say? All right. Chapter 12, how to carry out due diligence, step by step. 13, legal framework for operation as a real estate company and developer in Nigeria. Chapter 14, co-ownership of properties. When two people buy a property together, husband and wife, all of that is covered in chapter 14. Chapter 15, survey plan in the eye of the law. 16, title document in the FCT. 17, checklist of items to take from a buyer after the purchase of a property. After you buy property, what are the things you need to look out for? Chapter 18, what courts look at when deciding a real estate case. So peradventure, your case goes to court. What does the court look at? This also helps you. Part of why I did this chapter was to help realtors, developers, also be able to put certain things in order, just in case, God forbid, the matter goes to court, right? What are the chances that you should have, or what are the things that you should look at for just to be on the safe side? Chapter 19, real estate tax and other regulatory compliance. Chapter 20, EFCC SCUMEL, regulatory compliance for realtors and developers. Chapter 21, succession, a roadmap for securing the future for the next generation. This is very important if you're an investor, if you're a client, if you are an investor in real estate. And of course, chapter 22, common legal mistakes to avoid in real estate. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in a copy, do reach out to the number right on your screen for books. And of course, if you're interested in our real estate law course, sales and marketing course, basic real estate course, government regulations and compliance course, real estate task course, and other video courses that we have, you can reach out to the academy number. And if you're interested in the book, reach out to my bookstore through the number shown right on your screen as well. There are two books that we have at the moment. This is one, and this is the second one. Sell real estate consistently. If you're interested, this is the time to reach out and grab your copies. My name again is Raymond Ijoma, and I'm the lead facilitator of the Fortreal Real Estate Academy right here in Nigeria. And do make sure you share this particular video with a friend, like the video, subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on the amazing content that we share on this YouTube channel. Hopefully, I'll see you in class someday. Bye-bye.